Hi everyone, my name is Pui Lee and I'm an artist based in Gateshead, so I'm really delighted to be back again because I'm going to show you how to make one of these. So this is a really fun craft which involves very few materials, so it's cheap and cheerful too. And as you know, flowers have a great effect for improving our mood and our emotions, as I'm sure you'll agree that they make anyone smile and they have a real nice calming effect too. And it's always nice to look at something beautiful. Okay, let's get started. So for this activity, we'll be using paper. So I've got 2 sheets here, and we'll also need a pencil, a pair of scissors, and a Pritt stick. So these are just normal A4 copier paper, but it doesn't really matter if you don't have a range of colours available, it will still look good either way. We're also going to be drawing some circles later, so you might want to go looking around the house for some round objects to draw around. So for example, I've got this roll of sticky tape here, and I've also got this plastic cup too. But you'll definitely need to draw one circle smaller than the other one. Let's get started. Fold a piece of A4 paper in half widthways, side to side. Score along the edge with your fingernail to really define that crease. Open the sheet back up and using that same crease, fold that piece of paper back on itself to really define it. Score along the edge with your finger, open the sheet back up. Now using your scissors, carefully cut along that crease. And you now have 2 pieces of A5 paper to use. Let's just use one sheet now. We're going to turn this rectangle into a square. Bring the top corner to the opposite side. Carefully line the edges up and press down to make a fold. Again, score along the edge with your fingernail to really define that crease. Now turn the sheet around. Notice the triangle and the rectangle. Let's turn the sheet over. Take this edge and fold it back on itself, carefully lining the edges up. Score along and again fold that crease back on itself the other way. Then open it all up. Notice this crease here. Score along. Open the sheet back up. Notice this crease here. You're going to use the scissors to carefully cut along that line. Then put the rectangle to one side and let's look at the square. Turn it around so it looks like a diamond shape. You'll now need your thin stick or just use a pencil if you don't have one. Put your stick horizontally on the corner of the paper closest to you. Then carefully roll the paper into a thin tube. You may need to keep pulling out the stick as you go along so that it doesn't get stuck inside, and keep a firm grip of your paper tube. You're then going to add glue to the end part, this triangle here. Then gently press down this piece, be careful not to crush the tube, and you now have something that looks like this. This will be the flower's stem. Now to make the leaves. Bring back that leftover rectangle from earlier. You're going to fold a piece in half from edge to edge long ways. Now using your scissors, you're going to cut out your leaf from this. I'm going to freehand it, but you may wish to draw it out first, then cut it out. So it's going to be a long pointy leaf at both ends. Then with each leaf, fold each one in half long ways. So this is a really simple way to create a 3D leaf shape. Now to make the sepals. That's the green bit between the stem and the flower. Let's bring back that A5 rectangle from earlier. You then need to draw a circle using the smaller round object that you found earlier to draw around. Then using scissors, cut this out. Now with this circle, fold in half by lining up the edges. Then fold in half again, into quarters, and fold in half again. Then using scissors, carefully cut 2 long triangles out from this. This bit doesn't need to be too precise, but you want to aim for the triangles to be roughly equally spaced apart within this shape. Then slice a bit off the edge here. Do the same here. Now you're going to round off the edges here by carefully cutting to create your petal shapes. Then carefully open the shape out. And wow, you've now created this flowery shape here. So next you're going to use your scissors again and cut along the crease lines of one segment. Then with this outer edge here, you're going to add some glue and bring the nearby edge across to overlap and press down. So now you've created this cone-like shape by doing so. Feel free to trim off any excess bits to neaten the shape up if there's any misaligning parts. Now to make the vase container, you will need an A4 piece of paper. Now let's turn this around and turn this into a square like we did earlier. This time, fold back onto itself using the same diagonal crease. Score along the crease with your fingernail. Open up. Then make another fold, corner to corner, by lining up the edges. So that when you open it up, you've made a cross of creases. This time, fold in half by bringing side to side, lining up the edges. Again, fold back on itself to really define that crease. Open it up and fold in half by bringing side to side again, lining up the edges. Now take one of the edges and bring this to the center line. Press down and make that fold. Then turn the paper around and do the same again. Bring the outer edges to the center line. Then you should have something that looks like this. This time, take the side on the right and bring it to the first vertical crease from the left. Carefully line the edges. Press down and make that fold. Turn it around and do the same to the opposite side. Then repeat with the other two sides. Turn it around. Now you should have something that looks like this. Notice this 4x4 grid. Inside that grid is a small square. Let's mark on the corners of that small square with a pencil. This is your base of your container. Now let's pay attention to this top right hand corner here. We can see a bigger square. So let's mark on the corner of the square with our pencil. Let's do the same with the other three corners. Now let's work with this top right square in the corner. Turn the sheet so that the pointy end is facing away from you and the square now looks like a diamond shape. Notice the centre line here in this square. I'm going to draw some dashes on to make it super clear. Notice these two triangles. See here, start from the bottom corner and go diagonally through one triangle about halfway until you reach the edge. We're now going to make new creases here on these diagonal lines. So let's bring this side up and over. Notice I am lining up these two lines here and there is a small triangle poking out from underneath. You can imagine a sort of kite shape here. The bottom point of that kite is a corner that's already there. Press down, open up. You'll see the new diagonal crease in that triangle. Now do the same with the opposite side. I'll hold it up so you can see it better, these two new diagonal creases. Now do the same to the other three corner squares and repeat the same steps for those new diagonal creases. Then you should have something that looks like this. Now take this time to redefine all those diagonal creases by folding one way and then back on itself. It'll just make things easier later on. Then when you're ready, look at the base square and redefine the size of those by folding the creases again if need be. Then hold up two adjacent side walls so that the edges meet. Push the kite flat back against these walls. See? Then fold down this triangle flap over the walls like so. And it holds it all together. Now do the same with the other walls and repeat those same steps. You can also nip the sides to define the shape if you need to. And there you go, you've now created your very own vase container for your flower. Now to make the petals of the flower. Draw around both your round objects onto a piece of paper. You should have one circle about twice as big as the other. Then using scissors, carefully cut these out. Then with one circle, fold in half by lining up the edges. Then fold in half again, into quarters, then fold in half again. Then repeat these steps with the other circle. Then using scissors, carefully cut two long triangles out from this. This bit doesn't need to be too precise, but you want to aim for the triangles to be roughly equally spaced apart within this shape. Now you're going to round off the edges here by carefully cutting to create your petal shapes. Then slice a bit off the edge here. Do the same here. And wow, you've now created this flowery shape here. Then repeat these steps with the other circle. So next you're going to use your scissors again and cut along the crease lines of one segment. Then repeat these steps with the other circle. Then with this outer edge here, you're going to add some glue and bring the nearby edge across to overlap and press down. So now you've created this cone-like shape by doing so. Feel free to trim off any excess bits to neaten the shape up if there's any misaligning parts. Now, to piece it all together, put some glue on the bottom of the smaller piece, just in the centre. Then put this inside the larger piece and press down to fix it in place. You can position the petals as you wish. I'm bringing the inside lot of petals inwards, for example. Then bring back those segments you cut out from before, scrunch these up and glue together. Then you can add more glue and press into the centre of the flower. You should have something that looks like this. Now take your sepal piece and cut halfway up those crease lines. Then add some glue into the centre and press your flower on top. You can pull down the sepal segments if you wish. Now take the stem, cut off the end, then put your scissors inside the tube, cut a line, rotate the tube, cut, rotate, cut. Then you can open out these flaps. Then put some glue on these flaps and glue onto your flower, onto the sepal part in the centre. Press down firmly, but be careful not to crush your flower. Looking good so far. Then put some glue onto the bottom part of the leaf. Then wrap around the stem. So it's a bit like the leaf is hugging the stem. Then do the same with the other leaf. It's up to you where you want to put it on the stem, but I chose to put one higher up than the other. Then define the creases at the end parts of your leaf. And you're finished! So you can now put this flower into your vase container. Well done everyone! So now you can make as many flowers as you like to go into your vase container. I think the fun part is deciding where it's going to go within your home and doing the flower arranging part. But hopefully it can add a bit of joy to your home and give you something to smile about. Okay, so thank you very much for watching and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye for now.